Everybody, welcome to this week's podcast. And I want to talk today about how we always have an opportunity to look at any situation in two different ways. Breaking it down into the most simplest of terms, we either can look at a situation as something that is bad and horrible, or we can look at a situation as an opportunity for growth, an opportunity to learn, an opportunity to say you're sorry, an opportunity, just an opportunity. Okay. So when I was just a young girl, I remember going to my local Kmart with my mom. I was about 12. And back in that time period, it was early 80s. Being at the roller skate rink on a Friday night was where you were at. It's just what you did. And I would see other girls wearing the roller skates that were clearly not from the counter behind the desk where you pay to get into the roller skate rink, like the ugly brown ones with red and orange wheels, smelly, gross. These girls had white leather roller skates with a big pom-pom, pink wheels. I was convinced that the reason why those girls got asked to do the slow skate was because of the skates. Convinced of it. So I was at the Kmart, it was Kmart back then, with my mom. And lo and behold, in the shoe department, they had white leather roller skates. They didn't have the pom-pom or the fancy shoelaces, but they were white with pink wheels and a pink stopper. I wanted them so badly. I was begging my mom, please, can I have these roller skates? And she said, when you save up enough money, I'll be happy to bring you back and you can buy them. I think they were like $12.97. Back in the day, everything ended with a 7. I was so devastated. I promised her I'd pay her back. I promised her I would do extra chores. I would do anything if we could please get him. They had my size. Please. No, ma'am. When you save up the money, I'll bring you back and you can get him. So I got a paper route. I was a paper girl. And I would fold those newspapers. I had the afternoon route. So back then we had morning or afternoon. I had the afternoon route. Every afternoon, early afternoon, I'd get a dumping of newspapers. I would fold them, put the rubber bands on, or a plastic bag if it was going to rain. And I would load up my bicycle with the bag. So I hooked the bag over my handlebars and off I would go, delivering newspapers. And then once a month, I would have to go to the homes and collect the money. And I would get tips. And so I wanted to be the best little paper girl person in the world. So I made sure that the papers always landed on the porch, that they were folded neatly, and I got tips. And lo and behold, a month or so goes by, and I had enough money. I think it was like 2 or 3 months, because back then people tipped like 50 cents. So it took a while. So I got my money. I remember it was in an envelope. I took my money. I said to my mom, I have enough money for the roller skates. So she took me back to Kmart. I bought the roller skates. I was absolutely convinced I would be asked to slow skate that following Friday. I don't remember. And my mom contributed the fancy shoestrings and she made me a pom-pom. Looking back at that whole scene, there's 2 ways I could have looked at it. I could have looked at it as, this sucks. My mom won't buy me something, or, okay, get it done. I have an opportunity. I'm going to figure out how to make money. I'm going to get the job. I borrowed, the job from a boy who lived down the road. He was tired of doing this one particular part of the route. So I got that part of the route from him. I made it happen. And what that moment did, the roller skate moment, and I have a blog post that I'll link down below. What that did was it sent me on a path for my life that if you want something, it is up to you to go get it. And that has bled into every area of my life. It's bled into my business. If I want to get clients that have dementia or brain injuries, I have to go get them. People aren't going to just look me up and say, oh, I think she's great. I have to go after it. If I want to buy a home, I have to make it happen. If I want to have healthy relationships, I have to make that happen. If I want to be healthy in my body, I can't just pop a magic pill and expect it to happen. Now, if I would have And that moment of 12 years old made the choice that my mom was awful and she was mean, and just sulked about it and was bitter about it, and spent the next 3 or 4 years being bitter and quitting roller skating because I didn't have the good skates. It would have changed everything in my life. So looking back at that 12-year-old girl, that set me on a great path. I bought my own car when I turned 16. I got my first job when I was 14 and a half, like real job. And I saved up enough money. I paid cash for my car. I always paid my own insurance. I paid for my own gas. Like, it taught me that if I want something, it is up to me. It is up to me. Now, as a parent, I try to model that for my kids, that same philosophy, but different times. When my kids were growing up, their peers were being given brand new cars when they turned 16, fancy cars. We lived in a nice area. And I remember my oldest son, who had to have a job. He had to pay for his own cell phone, his own insurance, but he still would come home and be like, so-and-so just got a new car from his parents, and long for that. I wasn't going to be that parent. Hindsight, I wish I would have been a little softer with them, because I expected so much from them that I don't think they really got to experience like high school fun, because they either were working or doing school. And I don't know, but I wasn't going to be a parent that gave my kids everything. And I remember my son one time, my oldest one, he asked if he could borrow like $30 to take his girlfriend on a date. And I said, if I don't have money to go out to dinner, there's no way I'm giving you money to go out to dinner. You better pick up more hours at whatever job he had and save. And so I tried to instill that with my kids, to save for what they wanted and not just whip out my money for them. And I did a pretty good job with that. But I know that for every decision that I've made since that roller skate moment, it has been to support my financial independence. It's been to support my self-esteem, that I can do this. I can make this happen. So I believe that no matter what situation we have two choices. We can either look at it as something negative, that this happened to me and this is unfair and this isn't good, or we can look at it as an opportunity. And I still circle back to that to this day when I think about my hip surgeries, 5 of them. Okay, so I could choose to be really angry, to be really bitter, to be really disappointed, to be really mad at my body, to be mad at my doctors, mad at my physical therapist, mad at the system. What's that going to do for me? Or I can look at it as an opportunity to show up, to do my best every day, to be compassionate, to help others through hard things, to use it as something that is an inspiring moment for other people. I know I'm not the only person that's in pain. And so I think that as we evolve in our life, one of the most important things that we can do is to look at every situation that we're faced with, big or little, roller skates or big time relationships, problems, marriages, buying a house, medical stuff. Two choices. We can look at it as, this happened to me, I'm a victim, this is bad, or as an opportunity. And going back to my little 12-year-old sweet self, I was determined to get those roller skates. There was nothing that's going to stop me from getting them. And I made it happen. And ever since then, my whole life, what I've wanted, whether it's material or in my business, I have gotten and achieved somehow. And I don't have anybody to say, I received that as a gift, or I inherited that, or this was given to me. I've worked very, very hard for everything that I have. And I do believe that it all goes back to that choice. It goes back to that choice. And so going forward, I continue to look at situations in my life as an opportunity rather than, this is terrible. How can I make the best of this situation? How can I make it happen? How can I get it done? And in my business, following the pandemic, Everything had closed. All of my contracts were gone. I was starting back at zero. And I remember sitting in a coffee shop, drinking coffee in the afternoon while my daughter was at her program. And I thought, I wonder if there's some brain injury residential programs in South Denver. Did a quick Google search, 5 of them popped up. I sent 5 emails. By the end of the day, I had 5 contracts. I could have sat and said, this sucks. The pandemic ruined my business. I'm not going to have anything. I got to start all over. I'll just go back to teaching at a gym. I'll get a job. No, it's an opportunity. And now I have a bazillion contracts, a bazillion students that I get to work with because I made that choice. So everything in life is choice. And if you want a different result in your life, then you have to make a different choice. So I'll link the roller skate blog down below. I wrote it several years ago as I was thinking about the things that I've been able to create in my life independently by myself. No alimony, no child support, no inheritance, no large sums of money, never won the lottery. I made it happen. And I was just even mentioning to somebody the other day that, if my body changes and I just am not able to do my work that I do, I'm happy to get a job. I know I can make my life happen. I know that I have complete confidence in me, whether I have a bad hip or I don't. And it all goes back to being 12. I had complete confidence that I was going to be wearing white leather roller skates with pink wheels and a pink stopper, fancy sparkly shoelaces, and a pom-pom. And it happened. So whatever you want in your life to happen, you got to go get it. You got to make it happen. You got to do the work and choose to make it happen. Choose to see that you can do this. Choose instead of sitting back and wanting it to come to you. You got to get out there and make it happen. All right. I'll see you next week.